So what's happening, people? It's me again, Courtney. Let's do my predictions for UFC 114, which will take place on Saturday, May the 29th, at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas. It's Jackson versus Evans, the main event. I'm pretty excited about this fight. I'll just get straight into it. Quinton Rampage Jackson's got a 30-7 record. He's 6'1". He's a former light heavyweight champ. He's the former, or still is, was the former undisputed champ. He unified the Pride middleweight title and the light heavyweight title of the UFC by beating Dan Henderson. Rampage's got very heavy hands. He's got a solid head, solid chin. The guy can take a beating. He's got good takedown defense as well. And he's very strong for that weight. Very, very strong. Just looks solid, very strong. But picking people up and throwing them on the head, almost got to be strong. He's not been finished since 2005. The last person to finish him was chokewho. He battered him in Pride basically, but there were rumours flying about that Rampage came in injured. And his last fight was a decision win against Keith Jardine. The fight was a bit weird because I thought Rampage was holding back. That's what it looked like anyway. In his last 5 fights, he's had 4 wins and 1 loss. The loss came when he lost his light heavyweight championship belt to Forrest Griffin. And most of his wins have come via TKO in his career. And he's fighting Sugar Rashad Evans, who's got a 14-1-1 record. I think it's 14. Have I wrote that right? I think it's 14. Yeah, he's 5'11", so he's a smaller light heavyweight, shorter, I would say. He's a former light heavyweight champ as well. He defended the belt 0 times. He fought Machida. Machida said, "Hey, hi, Rashad, I'll have that belt." Just took it from him. I made him do the fish dance as well. Fish dance, whatever dance you want to call it. But yeah, Rashad Evans is a quick, agile fighter. He's athletic. He's got heavy hands as well. He's a Division 1 wrestler, so his takedowns are good when he puts it on. And I think he's gone back to his old school ways, back to his old ways of taking people down and controlling them. I've seen in his last fight against Thiago Silva, he was taking him down repeatedly at will, passing his guard, mounted him. So that's the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt that he's got, paying off. But his chin is suspect. Anytime anyone touches it, it's just like he starts dancing. If you see the Machida fight, yeah, you watch that fight, and you watch the last Thiago Silva fight, you'll see him get touched on his chin and he will start moonwalking. Yeah, but his last fight obviously was a win against Thiago Silva. His last 5 fights, the 4 wins are exactly the same as Rampage's. 2 decision wins, 1 TKO win, and 1 KO win. And obviously he's had the 1 KO loss, which he lost to Machida when he lost his belt. But yeah, Rashad Evans. Deep down, I don't think these guys really hate each other as much as they're making out. They're just hyping up the fight for the TV. There's no way. Nah, I don't believe it. But anyway, it's going to be a good fight. But I'm going to pick Rampage to win the fight. I think Rampage is going to knock him out. But if you don't knock him out, he's going to put a serious ground and pounding on him. Rashad Evans, I think if he's going to win the fight, he's going to win by decision. I don't think he'll be able to put Rampage down on his arse and everything like that, but I don't think he'll be able to actually finish him. But I'm picking Rampage to win via TKO or KO. Next fight on the card is Michael the Count Bisping versus Dan Miller. Michael Bisping's got an 18-3 record. He's 6'2". He's a winner of the Ultimate Fight, I think it's Series 3. He's got very good technical stand-up. He recovers his guard well. You watch the Dennis Kang fight. Dennis Kang passes or goes to pass. Bisping puts him back in the guard straight away. His guard recovery is really good. But the only thing of Bisping, he's a hit and run guy. You know, he like bang, circles, bang. You know, just he doesn't really come forward much, and puts it on people. He backs off. I'm not really a fan of that style of fighting. It doesn't help that, to me personally, he doesn't look very powerful when he's hitting people. It's like he's hitting people, it's not having an effect. It's still coming forward at him. But yeah, that's my opinion. But anyway, his last fight was a loss against Vanderlei Silva. His last 5 fights, he's had 3 wins and 2 losses. Most of Bisping's wins have come via TKO. And he's fighting Dan Miller, who's got an 11-3 record. He's 6 foot. I think he's the former IFL middleweight champion. He's got really good submissions. He's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Stand-up's improving. This guy lost 2 fights in the UFC, but to two title contenders in a row. They didn't finish him. They won via decision. So, you know, he's had some decent fights. And he's never been finished. His last fight was a decision loss to Damian Maia, and his last 5 fights he's had 3 wins and 2 losses, and most of Dan Miller's wins have come via submission. So for this fight, I'm picking Dan Miller. I think Miller, Bisping doesn't hit hard enough for me, so I don't think he'll be able to do anything to Dan Miller, and I don't think he'll be able to ground and pound him out because Chael Sonnen couldn't do it, and Chael Sonnen's known for that. And I think Miller will be able to take Bisping's neck and crank it hard. So I'm picking Dan Miller to win the fight by submission. Next fight on the card, I'm just going to keep this really short, is Antonio Rogerio Nogueira versus Jason Brills. Nogueira, 6'2", has got an 18-3 record. Brills, 18-2-1 record, 5'11". Brills has come in at short notice to take over from Forrest Griffin, who was injured. Basically, Nogueira's going to win the fight. I don't think Brills, even though Brills wins have come via submission, most of them have, there's no way he's going to sit Nogueira. The only way he's going to win it is if he does a soccer Jew on Nogueira, which I don't see happening. Nogueira to win the fight. Next fight on the card, this is another one I probably can keep short as well, is Todd Duffy versus Mike Russow. Todd Duffy, 6-0 record, he's 6'3". This guy, when I see him, he's just the Hulk. He's massive. At 25, the guy's huge. Most of his fights are finished early in the first or second round. He was training at American Top Team, but I think he's moved to Extreme Couture. With his style of fighting, from the fights that I've seen, he likes to clinch people and take them against cage on batter, you know, just dirty boxing, which I think suits him going to Extreme Couture. His last fight was a win against Tim Hague in a record 7 seconds. Obviously, his last 5 fights have all been wins. Last 5 fights, all wins. And most of the wins have come via TKO or KO. And he's fighting Mike Russow, who I think is a police officer. He's got a 12-1 record. He's 6'2". Russow, very good submissions. I think he's only been finished once in his career. Or I think he has, once I think. And only 2 of his fights have gone the distance. One being the last fight in the UFC, which was against Justin McCulley. Russow won via decision. He's on an 8-fight win streak at the minute, and his last 5 fights have all been wins. 4 via submission. So for this fight, who do you think I'm going to pick? For this fight, I'm leaning towards Mike Russow with more experience. But hey, it's MMA, anything can happen. Todd Duffy could come out and knock his head off again. But I think if Mike Russow can survive the early storm, which I think Todd Duffy's going to put on him, I think he can win via submission. So I'm picking Mike Russow. Next fight on the card is possibly the fight of the night, it could be, is Diego Sanchez versus John Hathaway. Diego Sanchez, the nightmare. I should call him the Zen nightmare. It's like, and just Zen, you know. Or the yoga Zen nightmare. Yes! Yes! It's crazy. But anyway, yeah, Diego Sanchez, 5'10". He's got 21-3 record. He was the original Ultimate Fighter winner. Got good wrestling. He's got good submission defense. If you haven't seen Abu Dhabi versus Marcelo Garcia, he didn't get submitted. He's got his ground game is improving. His jiu-jitsu is improving. I think he's a purple belt under the Ribeiro brothers, or brown belt possibly. Most of his wins have come via submission. His cardio is sick. This guy will keep going and going and going. His last fight was a loss to BJ Penn. In his last 5 fights, he's had 4 wins and 1 loss, and he's back at welterweight. And he's fighting John Hathaway, who's 6'2". He's got a 12-0, perfect 12-0 record. John Hathaway likes to take people down and pound them out, basically. London shoot fighters, wrestling based, come at you all guns blazing, just take you down and pound the hell out of you. His last fight was a win against Paul Taylor. Obviously, all his last 5 fights all been wins. This fight, I'm going to go for the Diego Sanchez by decision. Anyway, those are my picks. Peace.